Hi, everyone, and welcome to Creating a Bright Future. Mum, I'm so excited to be here tonight.
We have the wonderful Deanna Purza joining us as our
Yay.
special speaker, and I cannot say how grateful and appreciative I am of Deanna joining us tonight and sharing her wisdom, her skills, her knowledge. And I did ask Deanna just a little bit about some of her highlights and what is her why with Nutrimetics. And Deanna said very clearly that her why is to get rid of the bosses and be the boss herself. So I would love anyone who would like to comment or send a message to Deanna that they would also like to get rid of the bosses, unless you're already your own boss. Or maybe then you could say, I love being my own boss and not having to deal with anyone else. And I also hope that by the end of this evening, if you need a little boss checkup, that you have a boss checkup and make sure that you are doing the job of the boss. So I thought I'd throw, Deanna didn't say that. I threw that one in, everyone. And a couple of things that I asked Deanna as well for some highlights. And a highlight for Deanna has always been her new car. And she loved her Mazdas in the early days. And now she loves her Tesla. And having
I'm
the
going to have a race with Adam.
We should
yes,
have a race. I'd love
yes,
that.
yes. Adam
Next
also
month on the Gold Coast.
yes. And Adam also drives a Tesla and it changes cars with me sometimes. And it is a beautiful car to drive. Absolutely beautiful. So, are we frozen, Adam, or are we right?
I think we are all good, Mum.
That is wonderful.
So without further ado, we'd love to welcome our special guest speaker tonight, Presidential Director Deanna Purza.
Thank you. Always feels so important when I'm welcomed in that way. Okay. I mean, there's a lot of people on here that really do know my background, my story. And maybe there's how many new people here on in the group? I mean, I know Tony can't write.
Yes.
Mimi is not new. Lucia's not new. Irene's not new. Is she? Irene? Have we got basically new people here? No.
We have about, I'd say 40% of people are new.
Okay, wonderful. Well, just for them, I'll go back to history. Okay. I I was a full-time working mum. Now, most of you have families. You know that when you have a family, you're concerned about their security financially and otherwise. So, you're always in the back of your mind, subconsciously, I think, always looking for a better way to leave, well, not really a legacy, but I think there's a feeling and emotion in your mind subconsciously that, this can't be all there is. There's just got to be something more. And I think the question lingers, and I think you're always looking for that opportunity or that something that's going to light you up, that's going to go, oh, gee, that feels good. That feels exciting. Okay. Nutrimetics was not on the agenda or any kind of selling in that way. I didn't regard myself really as a salesperson as such. I was used to a different industry working with men, and I was a full-time working mum at the time too. More on the industrial side of life, not beauty. But that intrigued me. Again, as I said before to some of my colleagues, I didn't want to go to this invitation, but of my young sisters, but we come from a European family and we're committed to doing the right thing by family. So I turn up. I was intrigued and I was impressed. And I want you to remember those two words, because this kind of business, it's not something you can really touch or see or feel, especially the opportunity of the business. So, creating intrigue, I think, in your business environment is just so important. You've got to create a bit of mystery, a bit of intrigue, a bit of an element of surprise, and certainly a vibe, and I think what you are looking for is to get people interacting with you, so that you can start a conversation. Now, enabled to do that, and especially when you're new, and I was new, I think you need props. And I think I learnt that when I observed the, workshop that I was invited to, and I was intrigued by, to ask a lot of questions, because there were very well planned props around the place. So I could see them and question them and, touch different products. And although she had done the workshop and had, in fact, done the facial and demonstrated, she went a step further because she could see. And this is the thing about the business. You've always got to constantly have, I think, your radar like out, looking for people that are basically are questioning or looking, or their eyes are on you. You've got to have your radars on when you go into that place to do a workshop, whether it be on a Zoom like this, or whether it be well, we've got 4 ways of doing it. Let's face it. The show workshop, beauty workshops, the master classes, the Zooms. You can just do facials person to person. So there are many ways we can do the business. It doesn't really matter, right? What matters is that you are well prepared for creating an impression that's going to yield you some profit in some way, whether it be they become a good client, whether it be they've taken up the message of the opportunity. You've got to be able to put some mental preparation in that. Now, to be able to put that mental preparation in, you've got to be able to understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. And you've got to understand the business. Now, I didn't understand the business. Obviously, it was my first looking into this little workshop that I didn't even want to go to, or didn't even imagine myself being in beauty, contrasting industry from what I was in. And then, asking questions about, well, what did you get out of this? I was so intrigued. So you have to wind people up so that they ask you the questions. Because if they ask you, how'd you go tonight? If they ask you that question, there's a big story behind that. She's so interested. So the way you treat that response from that customer, once you've intrigued them, is really very important, and it's got to be targeted really well in your communication. Because after all, you're out there to not just splatter product on people's face. You're there to do a lot more than that. You're there to get a long-term client. You're there to connect and build a great relationship. You're there to intrigue them and promote the biggest product of all, and that is the opportunity that exists. You need to deliver, all that information in a very subtle, entertaining, high vibe way, so that you can shake people up a little bit and they're able to go, oh, now I know some of you will say, look, I'll go and do the show, and I don't know, it's really difficult. People don't sort of move around or whatever. And if you see that happening, it's your job as an artist in your business to ask questions that will emotionally move them and take an interest in them so that they think, oh, she's so interested in me. And I feel good about that. So I like talking to her. And the more you do this, the more they open to you. And it's important. Look, that's an art form in communication. But to simply learn that art form, you just make a habit of wanting to like people, wanting to learn about people, and asking questions that can serve what you're doing this evening and support what you're trying to deliver to the client. But, you know, they like you back and they think, oh, she's giving me all this information. How lovely. And she needs to sit in that space and feel really good. You've taken the time to take an interest in her, and she's asked questions that you're happy to inform her with. Like, don't overwhelm her, but, you know, respond again in a way that's simply informative but intriguing, and where the opportunity lies, make a personal appointment to have a more expanded conversation on what you would really like to share, and that is change her life. Because really, you're in the business in Nutrimetics to change people's lives, you know, not just the makeup. That's just a tool. You're really there to change their lives in a bigger way than that. And I think what you've got to realize, I think, when you're going out in the marketplace is people don't really think beyond their current situation. You know, they're so busy trying to survive, they don't think beyond that they can be. I get emotional when I talk about this because I've worked with people since 1980 in this business. And it's such a common thread that people don't want to, or not don't want to, I think they want to. Deep down inside, they want more. They don't know how to kind of get out there and sort of voice that they want more, right? They're almost embarrassed. I don't think they can articulate their inner emotions. And it's up to you as an artist to bring that out. And I'm a great believer in that you believe in everybody, because you know ultimately a lot of people don't really believe in themselves a lot. And listen, we're all a work in progress, aren't we? And, you know, we may believe in one thing, but we don't believe in the other, you know, and we're always working to perfect ourselves as humans and leave a beautiful legacy behind for our colleagues, our family, our friends, the world. You know, we're constantly working at it. And I think this is where compassion comes in. And I think you've got to try and sit in that person's body and understand that, you know, look, this is a great opportunity. No harm in having this discussion with her. I'd push it a bit. I'd want to have the discussion, even if she appears and talks and thinks that, you know, she doesn't appear interested. I'd say, oh, but do you know a lot about it? Because I'd say something like, in my work environment, most people respond like you. Yet I've got a very powerful business in not Australia, but another country. And this other country, they were worse than you. They just didn't want to know anything, yet they're involved and they're happy and they're doing it and they're full of joy, you know, because I'd say I actually pushed it to have the discussion because I wanted to provide information and I wanted to show them that everything's possible. So how I started my business was that I felt that intrigue and that stayed with me. It just stayed with me. And I like to intrigue people to look inside of themselves, not just judge and put things away in the back shelf. No, it's all right. I'm not interested. Oh, no, I don't think I could. Oh, no, I'm too busy. I'm so used to all that. That's just automatic. That blurb's going to come out anyway. If you're an artist in your business, you look beyond that. and you take people beyond that. You take people to a space where they believe in greater things. Look, have you ever created in your own mind? I mean, do you daydream sometimes? Do you daydream? Do you think, oh, if I could do this, if I could have this, if I could go there, if my life could be easier financially, if, we all, something wrong if we're not dreaming. If we're not dreaming, we're freaking dying. You've got to have the dream. It gives you hope, keeps you alive. And I have to admit, there's a lot of people out there at the moment that would love strong people to come in and provide an environment of hope for them, that there are possibilities, there are opportunities that they can embrace. Okay. And, people don't know how it works. People don't have any idea of how it works. And this is where you have to use wording that creates scenarios that they can, prompt their imagination and try and stretch their imagination open a bit so they can buy into the pictures that you're attempting to share, because if somebody didn't come and intrigue me and whatever, would I have gone all over the world? I don't know how many times. It's a bit boring because I don't know how many countries I've gone to and I've loved it, Now I even say, I want to earn all my seminars. Sometimes I say, I don't want to go to that one though. I just want to earn it because that's good business to earn your seminars. It's always good business, So people do have dreams, and I think we're shortchanging them when we take the off-the-cuff comment, oh, I can't do it, I haven't got confidence. No, it's okay, I'm working, I've got kids. We take that comment and we take it for granted, and that's it. We don't look behind it. You need to look behind it, and you need to find language that probes in a very creative, compassionate, friendly way. So the thing that will help, though, you being able to do this is, have you got a vision board? And do you understand your business? Now, look, I want to show you my original vision board that got better and better as I learned more about the business. But look, I'm basically you would never think that. I know you won't think that. I'm really a very shy person. I don't like doing talks. It tests me. When I first joined the business, my insecurities came to the fore, because I could see, I was intrigued that there was an opportunity for me to get rid of my boss and I could employ myself as the CEO, if you like. Was it a dream? Well, it was. I hadn't done it. It was just a wish, but that's what I wanted. And then how was I going to work this out was the question. How was I going to work this out? So I'll just bring up a slide and I'll show you, and I think I've shared this with some of my colleagues. I had to break down the business into parts. And I broke it down into parts because I had to fully understand it in my heart, how what those parts were, how I could learn skills to do those parts really well. And then what was the meaning of the business, like the thread that ran through the business? What was it that was going to make the business build momentum and create financial security for me? Because that's what I wanted and needed for my family. Now, is it share? Do I click share to bring the slide up?
Yes, you do.
Okay. Okay, this is my slide. Now, I did this years ago. It just got better as I got into it. But if you could, who was this? Jan McDonald. Okay. If you look at it, and I'm going to text it off to the messenger later, the Buchner messenger. See all the little parts. They're all parts that are important in the business. But if you look at your business now, just look at your business. It doesn't matter whether you're doing master classes, facials, spa experiences that the girls are going back into. My Adelaide girls are going back into all of that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how you're out there connecting with the individual, right? And doing business. Doesn't matter. Listen, if you wanted to make a cake, a good cheesecake, right? You need a recipe, don't you? If one ingredient is lacking in that cake, what happens? Not a good cake. People don't like it. If you don't cook it at the right temperature, what happens? It's a flop. It burns. You know, you think about this. So we have to have a model in our business. We have to have a model in our business with all the parts broken up, and all these little parts, they have tasks attached to them, which actually coordinate with the next part and the next part and the next part and the next part. And so by doing all this, you are maximizing your outcome, whatever that outcome it is that you want. And I mean, it looks like there's a lot there, but it's not, because in one workshop, you can achieve all of that. Depends on the language. It depends on the preparation and the planning, you know. So if you just go with a bag of a few products and that's all you do, with no mindset, the right mindset, that you are going to achieve your outcomes, which is your minimum sales. And you know, let's say it's 500, your minimum sales. I mean, you can get that in a facial alone, 500, or with a girlfriend. Easy. So you must have, well, corporate people have KPIs, but we have KPIs too in this. If we're going to run this like a business that's going to give us profit and maximize on all the incentives and the best commission and the best team building, we have to make time for each of these little sections. Now, the referrals you can get when you're doing a workshop. You just need a plan around it, right? I used to give out business cards. I used to give out little gifts for referrals of friends. I used to give facial cards to give to their friend and then collect the number of that friend. So I could say, look, when I'm in her area, I'll give her a ring if she's got the facial card, if she wants to take up the opportunity, love to go and see her. It was so simple. It was just a matter of imagining that when I was at a show, I wasn't just there to get the sales. I was there to get the referrals. I was there to get people wanting, intrigued and wanting to know more about my business. I wanted to get the 500. Well, that was planned anyway, because I would work from the collection brochure, not the monthly brochure. You know, that's generally for VIPs as far as I'm concerned. I mean, it's in my back pocket, but it's the collection brochure that gives them the best outcome. And like we all know that a set is the best thing. Okay, if she's got some stuff there that she's still going to use, fine, use it when you're finished, but it's the set that gives you the best outcome, and that's how I want you to get started. So these things here, like lead generation, if you came from another town to a new town, you think, well, I don't know anybody here. Got to earn some money because, God, I just got this flat and I got to pay the rent. Right? How are you going to do it? Hey, go and knock on a door. Go and meet people. Nothing wrong with knocking on a door. Saying, I'm new in the area, I want to introduce myself, but I also want to introduce some of my services. And I thought, just to get to know people here, I'd give them a little gift, a sample, a facial card. Oh, thank you very much. And they say, oh, that's so lovely. Oh, nice to know you, Deanna, blah, blah, blah. Just say, listen, I'm coming back here. I've booked a couple of facials in the street. Would love to come and pamper you. When would you be available? I'm coming back here Tuesday and Friday. Are you available for 45 minutes? I mean, that's not difficult. I mean, these are things we used to do to build a business. They're simple kindergarten stuff. But unless you understand this and how important it is to your outcome of income that you want to secure, and constantly working with fresh faces and learning skills for each of this little section. Like, for instance, okay, I booked that facial with a stranger. She says yes. Then I'll say, have you got a girlfriend you'd like to invite? Why not make it a fun twosome? Right? Okay, she's there. Then when I go there, I don't just give her the facial. I say, what are you currently using? I probe creatively. I mean, she might have bought a Christian Dior product and paid heaps, and I'm trying to sell her the same. It won't work. Bring everything you're using out, because then if I know she's already got plenty of whatever, I can introduce another aspect to complement what she's using. So I'm getting the sale. I'm getting some sort of sale. And then when I do, I convert that to, how about doing a makeup show? Why don't you invite the whole street, right? So it's not just, it doesn't stop there. It's like building momentum through every connection, right? And hitting every area. But look, unless you and your team understand that the business is not just selling a product to somebody or just joining someone up and they are just ordering $100 and forgetting about it, right? It doesn't work. We're not going to get growth that way. You're just going to get some pocket money. You're treading water. You're not really moving. You're not crashing through obstacles. Or rather, you're not creating, look, purely honestly, you're not creating the right vibe. You're not following the business model at its best. You're just not doing that. Because if you understood what everything in this section meant, and then you prepared, if you've got weaknesses in any of these little areas, what you do is you prepare to cover that. I'm horrible with remembering all the information on product. Oh, God. When customers ring up and say, this product, I've got this problem, and has it got that? Oh my God, she knows more about the product than I do. It doesn't really matter because you have a folder. You have a folder with all the product sheets and the tabs, and I can just go to that and say, read it for yourself, right? It's so easy. So any weakness that you may have in doing the task properly, you just prepare for it. It's as simple as that. It's not an Einstein exercise. So when people say to you, oh no, I'm not like you, I haven't got the confidence, I feel like saying, I wish you knew that I'm not that confident in a lot of these things. I'm just prepared well. That's all. It looks polished. It's not. I'm just prepared well, right? Without good preparation, you can't earn trust. You can't. They look at you and they can see you're unprepared. You're unprepared. You know? Do they want to join with you? I don't want to join with someone I can't trust, and I don't want to join with someone that's unprepared and full of that. I don't want that. Just want to join me up. I want someone that can present knowledge, information. They don't have to remember it. And so God help me, at my age, I don't remember a lot, you know. So they don't need to remember it. But if you're well prepared and you are presenting a winning picture of a consultant in front of them, you know, that you've got all your systems going, what she's seeing is, oh, that was easy. She went to that for instruction, or she's holding up a thing that says, now you talk about that, now you talk about that. Because you could hold up your menu and say, now, girls, I mustn't forget to talk about this. This opportunity is the best because, or this product here tonight is something that you're going to get for free, and I'm going to give you a free account number where you're going to be able to save 20%, you know. So you're actually prepared with your visuals, with your product catalogs or books, information, product sheets. Now, I can't see how people can do business without having a good business model and knowing that if they did every one of these and they were prepared for each section, that they already knew exactly, you know, what the outcome profit-wise would be for them. Because you're here to build a super fund. I call it a super fund. It's a good super fund. You know, you're retiring at my age, you think, I'm semi-retired. I'm playing with lipsticks all day long, talking to people, lots of fun. But I've built a great business on this model, and I can do what I want when I want, which was my dream, which I think is most people's dream nowadays. You're not crazy for wanting a dream life. Don't feel guilty about that. But you are if you don't do the work. You are crazy if you don't get that model and you prepare for every section, instructions, every section. You're doing it for yourself, but also what's great about that is that you now have a team member that, yeah, wants it, but doesn't know if she could do it. And you have the system here, and you have prepared her. You've prepared her. You know, you said, now I want you to print all these off. You put them in a folder. Now what I want you to do is I want you to come and learn tonight how you talk to somebody down the street about booking a facial and then asking her to bring a friend in. And then when you go and do the facial, how you actually set it up. It's going to be easy. It's nothing. It's easy. It's not hard to be a beautician. You do it to yourself every day. Get rid of that. Don't live in the past. We're going into the future. You know, and that's where a lot of people make huge mistakes. I did it until it drove me crazy. I'm living in the past, anticipating the future on the past. It's impossible. What am I going to repeat the past? I joined because I don't want to repeat the past. I want to create a new future. What's the matter with you? Doesn't that make sense? Put your hand up if it makes sense. Do I want to live in the past, or do I want to create a new future? No, but we're so smart as individuals. What we do is we live in the past thinking we're so smart and intuitive. We are creating the past into the future, but we've forgotten about the present moment. And what wonderful opportunity we've got in front of us. Look at it. It's a model. You plan it. The dialogue, the visuals. Visuals are great. You laminate them, you hand them around, you create intrigue by that, right? It's fantastic. And that's what you want to do in your workshops, in your facials. They almost become the tablecloth. You have all these visuals, creating stories, you know, with laminates. And talking about your little story intermittently. Don't bore them with your story. You know, they don't really want to know everything. They just want to know one or two or three things which are intriguing. So if you followed this and you looked at what you can earn, I mean, at every little demo, at every masterclass, at every workshop, I mean, you girls know what you can earn. I don't need to tell you, right? But if then you replicated that, because on the left, what's the point of following the model and then not following up on every person that you met? It's crazy because you can't cover everything on that night. You can only just throw intrigue around and get people thinking. But intrigue doesn't last for long. It might last for like 48 hours. So you need to follow up as soon as possible. Tell them how happy you were to have met them. And say, I don't know if any part, I'd love some feedback on the product and what we did last night. I suppose the hostess would be the first person, because I'd say, I hope I made your friends happy, or I hope you were happy last night. And, as we were talking, and I was sharing with you why I did this and how I started, I just thought of you today, and I thought, I've got to ring you because I've got to find out a little bit more about you and see if I can fit this opportunity in. I know you've got the account number, you're happy to order, but I thought, you know what, I should expand the conversation and talk to you a little bit more about it. Look, can we see each other in about a week or so? Have you got an hour for a cup of coffee? So what you want to do is follow up. You don't want to leave it too late. And what you want to do in that conversation mentally, you've got to assume acceptance. If you don't assume acceptance, she will feel it. You've got to assume that she likes you, she liked connecting with you, and because of the way you presented your model and you were well prepared, she trusted you. She was then very cooperative in wanting to have a little discussion with you. And if she said no, look, that's fine. I said, look, that's fine, But I had to share this with you. But, life does change, Mim. If you want to pay your mortgage off quicker, because it's everybody's prison, I'm happy to come out maybe in a month or so. If you don't want to go out next week, that's all right. Shall I just give you time to think about it and catch up with you in a couple of weeks, maybe? See, I will suggest that at least 3 times in different ways. I won't give up on the first. She says, I don't know, no. I won't give up. I'll suggest it in different ways to see. I'm testing her all the time to see how, and that's how you sponsor people that actually want to grow businesses. Sure, people get the account number, okay, little seed you've planted, they've got the account number. The follow-up, which is down the golden rule, that's so important. You can, when you promote product, you've got to follow up every client anyway. I think that's really very important, because golden conversations come out of those clients that have received the product. And I put them in my diary to call them, at least after like 10 days. When they've got the product, they started using it, checking to see if you're using it well and you're happy with the product and did you get your delivery. What an excuse to go back and reignite the conversation. See, this business is all about having lots of conversations. Lots of conversations about our model of the business, which can serve a consultant for pocket money or someone that wants just more, whether it be fixing a house up or paying a house off or whatever. Thing is, we've become so complacent. We don't ask the right questions. And look, why we don't is because, well, we're not acting upon the dream that we want. That's why. And maybe the dream that you currently have is an old dream. You're living in the past with it. What about reorganizing the dream a bit, shuffling it around? And, I get very depressed if I can't refresh myself. I need refreshing all the time. I need to press that button and refresh mentally all the time. I need to tell myself a new story as often as possible, because I can get down and gravitate back to a past in some areas that I wasn't happy with. And it's not the good bits you remember about the past. It's always bloody shitty bits that you go and gravitate back to. And it affects how you actually want to embrace your thought pattern for today, which should be fresh and alive and exciting. And I say exciting because, hey, it is an exciting business. You can write your own check. You can be your own master at this. You can master all the little preparation skills here. You know, I challenge you actually to look at every section of this and see how many little preparation things can I prepare to make my life much more easier and much more productive around this, because you're helping your team this way too. So it's not just about you. I think mostly it's about your team. So I think it's important to think this model is with this too over here on the left side, where we've got, you know, we sponsor somebody, we activate, elevate, duplicate. So we recruit, we activate, elevate, duplicate. Goes without saying that is part of it. So these sponsors in the red, the 6 to 8 that we want, that we're looking for all the time, well, that was way, I think we want more now, but it was 6 to 8 then. Look, these have to go over here to activate. See the activate section over here. So that's another little plan. What is your little plan in activation? What are the 3 most important things that you do to activate? Have you got a standard text that you send, which is welcome? Do you ring up and make sure that they've seen all the rewards? Don't say, would you like to go for them? Say, which ones have you chosen to go for? You take the optimistic, you know, so having the right mindset, so important, and having this model in front of you, and it should be in your business wall. You should expand it really big, have it framed, because when you're running your business and you're looking at what you're doing, you say, okay, where am I failing? The canvassing. See, I've got our girls in Adelaide. Mimi will agree with this. They do markets, they do expos, you do malls, don't you, Mim? You know, it's constant. It's a rule. You can't grow a business on people that have been there forever. You've got to always look for fresh blood in your business. Where do you find them? You find them in markets. You find them down the street. You find them at a social function. You find them on this community thing on Facebook if you want to do your master classes. They're everywhere. Now, I know what the next thing you're going to say is, oh, who's got the time to do all that? Well, you only prepare this model and every section in that model once. So you prepare all the things, or, you know, it says all the little reminders and training and visuals or whatever you need to demonstrate not only to your team, but also to your customers, right? Now, this one where it says follow up 10 days after people have got their product. Well, that's for your team. So you say you have a little visual. Number 1, you ring your clients on the 11th day after they've received the product, or say 2 weeks after they received the top product, or whatever, depending on what state you are and how long it takes to receive it. And then you say, okay, what you need to do is ring them, question them about their product. Are they happy? Did they receive it? What's the objective here? We have 3 objectives. We'll say, well, I thought I'd ring to see how happy you are, how I can further help. I did mention about makeup that night because we just covered skincare. You weren't quite sure, but I just want to share with you, makeup's coming on special promotion. I'm happy to come back in and show you how to put that makeup on and give you a new glam look. See, assuming acceptance because you've already connected with your customer. So build on that connection. Keep it hot. Keep it warm. Well, we just do it and then we forget about it. I can't do that. And then, of course, she's in your customer base. And, of course, yes, you do send her stuff out I do it 5 times a month. I don't know how often you do it, but it works for me 5 times a month. So then, of course, the referrals. I always had a guest book. I used to love them writing in. Yeah, I used to promote the, as I said, the facial cards for their friends, but the facials up here, I used to say, look, we haven't taken care of everybody tonight. If I was doing a workshop and only one model, I've got my little guest book over there. If you would like, we do give complimentary facials when we're traveling in certain areas and we've got appointments in that area. And we thought, well, at random, we'll give you a ring and say, hey, why don't you take up, a complimentary facial? Put your name down and your number, or whatever. It just shows me that, oh, she might be keen. I mean, I've got her name and number, but the fact that I've asked that and she's put her name down makes it easier for me because I'll ring her first, rather than ring everybody else. So I'll ring her first because she's indicated, yeah, she might be interested, right? So 6 to 8 sponsors. Well, that's pretty easy because now we've got obviously the Nutrimetics oil, the free joining. That's pretty easy to join people up. You do it at the end of. I do it at the end of the order because the Nutrimetics oil becomes a really big thing, and I say we're going to add this in for you to order on your account number, on your free account number. You order that, right? So the hostess coaching, well, again, you do another little training visual for your girls. Tell them to put it up in their office when they're on the phone talking to the potential hostess. These are the points that she covers because they don't remember. Ask them to have these things in their office. It's part of the model. We don't want to forget it. So, and again, this model, especially when we go with the sponsors, we go right over here and we've got to activate, elevate. How do we elevate? We expand it. What time is it? Yeah, okay, I've got 10 minutes. How do we elevate people? Do we go out? Do they come and watch us? Do we go out and watch them? Do we give them a little goal and an incentive to go for the first 5 sponsors? What do we do? Do we highlight that? What are the things that we do? You know what to do, but you actually have to have a little program that the way you do it. This is how we elevate. Boom, there's another one for my office up there. Then how do we duplicate? Well, that goes in part of the elevate is you duplicate by you use those 5 products that they sponsor people. That's how they duplicate. And you say, you know what this means? This is what it means. It means that you're in business, girl. You've got 5 people that have joined. And you know what? They've got 5 people they can join. You need to tell the story around that chain of events because she's not going to be able to work it out. It doesn't mean much to her, right? It only means something when you're adding and igniting that, that intrigue that you started off with when you first met her, when you were doing your little workshop. So I don't know if that all makes sense. I mean, I could talk about this one for absolute hours on every section. But I said to Louise tonight, gee, Louise, you got me on a bad night. I'm not really feeling absolutely 100% tonight. So, but here I am because I think I owe it to everybody to share my view or my ideas on how I work this out. And look, I did it because originally I was insecure. I was very frightened. I was insecure, trembling at my feet. Working it out helped me because I could see the amazing, amazing financial opportunity. I mean, I'll be honest, Nutrimetics helped me build incredible real estate, and I love it. Nutrimetics did that for me, but it did more than that, and I don't think you could put a dollar value on what it really did for me. It helped me confront myself, I think, and confront my absolute deep fears about who I was, what I meant to the world, what the world meant to me. Yeah, and it keeps confronting me, because challenges never stop. Challenges just don't stop, because life is challenges. And people that do well in life build that resilience through confronting themselves and challenges. And what I've learned here is, there's a member in my family, I'm not going to say who, and when she's upset, it's always that person's fault. That person, over there, over there, over there. I was like, when are you going to just go to your bathroom and look in the mirror and point that finger in the mirror? And who does it point to? You. It's you. You are responsible for the way you respond to anybody, anything outside of you. Yeah, okay. Sometimes, we get peeved about certain situations. And there's nothing wrong with voicing your peevedness, if you like. But at the end of the day, your life is in your hands. Your success is in your hands. You've got to just embrace incredible personal responsibility, because it makes you a better person. And I think you're leaving a legacy to your children, watching you address certain challenges. I mean, that's why I'm proud of my daughter. I mean, my daughter's just amazing. She's looked at me being this European immigrant that used to be, I think, kind of volatile and angry. I wasn't angry at anybody. I was really angry at myself, but I didn't know how to work it out. And that's what happens. We get new people coming into our business, and they just don't know how to work it all out. They're angry, but it's your fault. And then if you're not totally confident yourself as a leader, you take that on and you start feeling miserable and down and how ungrateful, they are, they don't care, whatever. This is where you've got to be stoic. You've got to take it on the chin with a smile, walk away, listen to her, don't own it, be nice to them, gently give it back. Just say, look, I'm here to help. And when you're ready for that help, reach out. I'm here to help. Please remember that. And occasionally, you do a little email. Hi, how you going? Here I am if you want me. Because, you can be bashing your head against the wall trying to help somebody and giving them great sound advice. But, I'll tell you something right now. You see somebody, they're doing all these things that could make their life so simple, so easy, just by creating a fabulous time management plan, right? Which can give them a good lifestyle. And you're trying to give them this advice and clean it up for them. And they'll say, oh, you just don't understand. You just don't understand. They're not ready for that advice, because you know why? They don't want to make the change. See, people that don't take on advice that's good for them, they're not ready to change. I think you need to really look out for that and gracefully say to them, look, you're not ready for the change. I know you can do it. I believe in you. And if you could open to a conversation about how we can organize your time management to make life more breezy, easy, and profitable for you. I know that you'll learn a lot, you'll gain a lot by it, but unless you are ready for that conversation, I respect you too much to waste your time. But I'm here for you whenever you're ready. And that's the message they should get. Maybe, find your own words around it. They're just my words, but, find your own words around it. So to me, in my experience, creating your dream life is not about sitting on the top of the mountain, merely meditating your way to success. It is about taking action too. And this is where your diary comes in. And let's face it, we're promoting a lifestyle business, and we want a lifestyle too, because, things happen in our life, and, we want to be part of the world. We just don't want to be about just Nutrimetics and selling lipsticks all the time, right? So what you do is you've got plenty of time. I've proven it. Nobody can say to me they can't build a powerful business. I've done it. I've done it by being running another business with my husband, and at the time too, he was starting his business and I was helping him. I was full-time working, and I started Nutrimetics. Oh, where's the gun? I needed to shoot myself, but I did it because I saw something. I broke it down. I understood it was about people. It was about building momentum. It was about building trust. It was about helping people take an opportunity and work it to add to their finances. So I got that. I got that. And so I prepared myself as much as I could. I put it on my wall. It's here 50 years later. It's still there, just as you see it. And I work it in that way. And that's it. And no other way. That's the way. If you can show me a better way, tell me, I'm open. But to me, that's the business. And it's not about taking all your lifetime to do it. Because as I said, half a dozen of those things happen in the work and in the workshop environment, and the other things from home, and you're sharing it with your team. So it's just, you got to understand it. You've got to be clear how to make the business clear, how they can all your team can understand how it works and what's in there, and how you can support them, and how important it is that they sabotage themselves every time they sponsor somebody and they don't slowly move over to that bridge over there. Like they recruit them. They don't work on activating, elevating, and duplicating. Those sponsors and that little thing there, that it works together. You've just got to take advantage of every VIP you've joined. Even go back to the ones that you've joined and reestablish contact. Life changes. Life changes. So you have to honor. Look, after all, I think, have I given you enough messages on the model?
The model, Deanna. Love it.
What was that?
Lots.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots.
Lots. Okay. Your thoughts and your words can actually create your reality. You know that. It's hard, I know, because we live in the past. Creating words for the present moment and taking this beautiful present moment of sharing and growing it into something now, into the future, like tomorrow. What can I do tomorrow that I can take from this that Deanna shared that can make a difference? in how I go about my business. How can I press that refresh button, add another string to my bow to make it more profitable for me and my team? Because whether you think it or not, money's beautiful. Now, all right, some girls don't really appreciate money, because if they did, they'd work on this plan. They'd understand this plan. They would. And they'd say, gee, I can earn this money and I can put it into a fund and let it build momentum. I could do that for myself. I could buy some shares. I could give extra to my mortgage to pay it off quicker. And my God, it pays off really quick. I tell you what, you put extra money on your mortgage, it drops so quickly. See, so we're not bringing all that home to people to even teach them how to use money. That's sad. And if we could teach them to do that, then we could help them build consistency in the way they approach their business, not work at random. If you're consistent and you're working this model properly, you are earning income, but you are growing your income too whilst you're not there. You can be in Europe for 6 months and it'll grow because you've set up how other people can grow when you're not there, So we're not using the right language. We're not mentally, we're a bit stale, I think, or have been. So we need to change that. We need to change that right now and push that refresh button. And just one idea can do it. One idea can do it. But I'd choose an idea, I think, that would make a difference to people's income. Which idea will that be? Obviously, you need to analyze your business and where you think it might need lifting, uplifting, some excitement around it, or some new ideas to get them out there and meeting new people. I don't know. Only you know that. I know I'm pretty proud of my group in South Australia. I mean, I live here, they live there. Poor buggers. I mean, really, I don't deserve them, I think, sometimes, because they're out there and they're doing it, and they're plugging along and challenging themselves with, going to markets, doing the expos, doing the canvassing, doing the spa experiences, and chugging along, trying to break the code on their own challenges. And I really appreciate them for that. But, I have challenges too. You have challenges too. And, that will never stop. I think too, because they've been brought up on this school, actually, on this very school here, on this very model, and they've built resilience. So they're not going to die. They're going to grow. It's going to turn around. They're going to grow because they're out there canvassing. They're out there doing it. And some of them are doing more than Nutrimetics. I know Mimi's a busy mum, grandmother, and everything else, and she's doing it. So, it's working the model. Now it's taking one idea and changing something that could just add a spark to your team and yourself. That could change it. But please print this off, stick it on that wall, keep looking at it, saying, how can I improve the social media bit, the canvas, find new customers bit, the generate leads, complimentary facial thing, the how do I train out to my people to convert to parties? How do I get them to promote workshops a lot more? Like, you will be analyzing and thinking and getting creative ideas from them. Okay, so honor your vision. Have you got one? Honor your vision. You got to go beyond. You can't have the attitude of, yeah, I want to honor my vision, but like I've been going around and around, but I'm not getting anywhere. Maybe your vision isn't big enough. Maybe it just doesn't excite you and keep you up at nights. And I think, some of us are mature in the business. We've been there for a long time and we've become complacent. The new people, the new people can, they're starting off now, and I'm sharing with them a picture that hopefully can excite them because it can take them around the world. It can build financial security for them. It's a simple business, and you see those little slots. I'll tell you about the time management that I've always used in a moment. But I was alluding to another point that some of us have been there for a fair while, and we've had a lot of challenges. And yes, we've built resilience, but sometimes it's hard to keep it fresh, because when we think of, yes, I want to keep it fresh, and yes, I want to grow it. Yes, I'm going to fly with this. I'm going to use this idea and I'm going to break through. What happens is the past haunts us, and then we go flat. And I think it's because what's lacking here is that we are not choosing a ridiculously crazy kind of dream big enough to, to make us like tremble, that's what I'm thinking. Because if you go back to when you first joined, a lot of you, and I know I did, when I read, oh yeah, and I can earn this and I can get this, and if I did that 10 times and then I sponsored 6 and I showed them how they can do it, then it multiplies to that. Oh my God, that's quite a lot of money here. I got excited, right? So when I'm flat, I go back to that moment and it brings it back, and I try and grow it to a bigger picture. And I think this is how using your mind in that way is really very important. So taking responsibility, honoring your vision is important, and live your dream for yourself, not for anybody else. Whatever that is for you, you live it for yourself. You might have a partner that says, no, you can't have that dream. Well, you got to stand up and say, I want that dream. I'm having that dream. Starting now. You've got to assert yourself. When we truly believe that anything is possible, we are actually creating a space for transformation. Now, you remember that. But you've got to be kind of genuine. Do you think it's possible? Well, why not? The numbers don't lie. I've generated millions and millions of dollars in volume in Nutrimetics sales. Millions. I was trembling and hoping somebody would just buy a skin cleanser when I first did it. So you've got to think, numbers don't lie. They give cars. They give overseas trips. Okay. Well, people are going on overseas trips and people are getting cars. Well, why can't I? Are you asking yourself that question? Why can't I? And for the girls that probably have been there for ages, buy yourself a new property or something. I've been looking at international properties. They said that Malaga is number 1 for going in Spain to go on holiday and live and whatever. I was looking at it today and I thought, how much are they? How can I give myself a new dream? That sounds exciting. So, there's so much here. We have the best product, the best brand. We're supported by the company, and you're supported by each of your colleagues, no matter what team you're in. And it's sad that some may not look at it for what it really is. It's a very powerful, powerful marketing idea which builds people's lives confidence, financial security, and it provides them with freedom and no bosses. And that's the part I like best. So think about where you're going now. What's your intention from now on? I'd love to hear some in the chat. I'm going to get out of this model now. And oops, yeah. Are you there? Can I see you all? Yeah. Yeah. I will text it on Messenger when I'm finished. Yeah, think about your intention, you know. I mean, did any of this make sense to any of you? Love to hear from the newies actually on the chat.
Absolutely love it, Deanna. Love it.
Well, you know, this is one great way to build security for you and your families. I mean, you can't be fired.
Oh,
And you're not investing anything but your goodwill and a little bit of time. And as I said, with my management time program, like I still use a manual diary 1 week at a glance, but I also use the desktop electronic, which goes to my phone. And every one of those sections, I look at what I need to do, which is my priority. And my priorities, how I judge my priorities, are usually based on my team sales, my personal sales, how close am I to targets? I look at that. Whatever's missing in those areas, I think, okay, what needs to be done? Do I call people? Do I do a market? Do I talk to some of my directors? Do I provide some of my consultants little incentives? What do I need to do now to change that, to bring it home? So then what I do is I take my diary out. It's still a Sunday night habit. And I'll look at my diary for the following week where I've got in other appointments and other responsibilities. And I fit in sections, and I know how much time it's going to do certain things. So I just block that time out, text messages then, broadcasting then, emails then, call, this one, right? And I slot in times because I'm also in the habit of what time are you available when I first meet them. That's on their information. So I basically know not to waste my time. So that's how I run my diary. And look, there's flexibility in everything, isn't there? But if you don't sort of organize that you're going to do these things before you actually do them, you don't do them. If you don't make the time to do them, you don't do them. And that's all there is to it. There is business out there, but like I said before, you know, you can try and help someone and give them information because it's going to do them justice. And I've got, like I said, my family member that I say, something happened 2 years ago. I say to her, can you let that go? Can you just don't worry about it? It's 2 years ago. It's too depressing. Let's not talk about it anymore. It's resolved. It's gone. It's finished. Yes, but every opportunity she gets, up it comes. I say, right, I'm busy now. I've got to go. I can't listen to this anymore, right? So, you know, you can try and help someone, but if they're not going to take the advice, it's not my fault. It's their irresponsibility to their vision, you know. So I think it's important that sometimes, depending on who it is, what kind of relationship you have with people, obviously you've got to know who you're talking to, how sensitive they are, or how ready they are for information. If you find that somebody really wants something but they don't get it and they're worth the time, tell them they're worth the time. Say, look, you are worth my time. I see something in you that, you know, that just sticks out just give me the honor of meeting with you for 40 minutes. It's not much. You know, like, if you really want to help people grow, I think you've got to embrace that sort of perspective as a leader also, but knowing when to actually not go any further. Or rather, keep the door open, but know to back off. That's important sensitivity that, you know, one needs to embrace. Okay, so an intention is a deliberate definition or reason behind any action you take. For example, my intention is to help transform lives, share valuable information that will support my leaders in my business. That's my constant intention. They tell me to back off. I respect that. You know, I will always invite in. I'll always keep my doors open. And even if they don't call me, I'll occasionally make contact. How you going? What's happening? Yes, okay, fine. You know, what's happening in the business? How can we do it different? Sometimes they need a little bit of an uplift. So it's important that you note that and you say, look, it's okay. We've all gone there. We've all had failures. We've all, you know, whatever. It happens. So what? You're still your own boss. You can still work when you want to work, you know, and when you're feeling good, you put the world on fire. Don't you ever forget that. So why don't we just put the world on fire again? You know? So
Deanna,
it's kind
great way.
Yeah.
That's
it's important.
Great way to have pulled it all together. I actually have to go to the airport to pick up my granddaughter who's flying in to assist Adam with makeup masterclasses and learn the skill. But what I would love to just summarize and then hand over to Adam is your raw authenticity of what you have shared with us. And so many people have commented, you have inspired me again. Deanna, you are one of the most inspirational leaders that I have ever met in my life. And I've met a lot of good ones, let me tell you. And our job, our role is to surround ourselves with other amazing leaders, entrepreneurial men and women. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing so much with us tonight. You are incredible. And when Adam heard you speak at a Queensland meeting, he said, Mum, we have to bring all the presidential directors, executive sales directors to our new consultants by this method. Over to you, Adam. Thanks so much, Deanna.
Love you. Love you.
Thanks, Deanna. And the two words that I wrote down first were intrigued and impressed. And I'm both intrigued and impressed by you, Deanna. So thank you so much for being our speaker tonight. Grateful for your wisdom, your knowledge, and your passion. My goodness, limitless passion that you share with us. You spoke about creating an impression and yielding profit as well alongside that, which I love because we are in a business to make money. You're in business to change people's lives along the way. So how can we be relevant in their lives right now? And I was actually doing some masterclasses in Manly and Sydney last month, and I had a girlfriend come along. She listened to the class in the background. She was supporting my bestie with her baby. And I said to her, what did you think of the class? And she said, Adam, it's so interesting that people have come into your masterclass in an area that they're going through change in their life. It's quite obvious. They've either started a new career, they've started a new job, they're getting divorced, they're looking for something a little extra. So they've come to learn makeup in this instance. They've come to refresh their look. And she said, it's so powerful what you're able to do in changing people's lives in that moment. And whether that's a facial and making someone feel good about them, you know, the personal touch. There's so often where I'll do someone's, you know, help someone with their eyebrows and they'll close their eyes because of the touch that 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 gift that we can give to
Yeah,
people
yes.
through makeup, through facials, through what we do through our business. Like, it's incredible. Vision board update. It's on my to-do list, Deanna. I don't know. I don't have a vision board update, and I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if no one's mentioned it to me this year or I just haven't heard it, but I heard it loud and clear tonight and I'm on it. So does anyone else need to update their vision board? Anyone? Yeah, legit. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, we do. What's your model? What's your model? Deanna has a clear model that she follows, which I absolutely love, and a system to accelerate your success. So one of our systems within Nutrimetics is the 4 pillars of bookings, as Deanna spoke about, and I'm so passionate about this. There's online. So I'm jumping on in a few minutes to run an online beauty workshop. I've started running online beauty workshops again. I feel like back in the COVID days when we would do all those Zoom calls, they've just come back around as spa treatments or facials do, or we make them exciting and new again. But our 4 pillars in our business are facials. So do you want to do facials? Is that something you want to do or be able to train your team? Workshops, group presentations. Then there's the masterclass series that you can implement. And then there's on the online space. And we have so many incredible people in the team building amazing businesses online. So which lane do you sit in, or do you sit in all of the lanes? Do you want to master all of them? Or do you just want to work with one or two? That's completely up to you, but become a master of the pillar of bookings, 1, 2, 3, or all of them. You spoke about here as well the booking, sponsoring. So here we are talking at the booking. That's right. At the booking. So whatever booking it is, the sale. So you spoke about the taking the order and how important that is to do. Then the booking, that's your future contacts. So are you booking them in for a makeup? Are you booking them in for a facial? We have a beauty workshop menu, which I was sharing the Creating a Bright Future chat. So you have a tool, have a prop. So this is my menu. I'm not a folder guy. I don't know. Like, some people in the team love the bookings folder. I love a menu. I love a restaurant menu. I love a spa menu. I love all the menus. So for me, a menu works really well with all the bookings on a page that they have on offer. And then all the ways that they can get involved with Nutrimetics, from being a beauty VIP, a social VIP, part-time beauty work, or becoming a manager. So I'll share these in our Creating a Bright Future chat as well, so you can have access to the tools that we use in our team, because we're all about sharing here in this fabulous group. And then it's about sponsoring. I love the idea of a free account. Would you like a free account to have future discounts on your products, to be able to have access to our rewards program, but then inspire, ask questions, expand the conversation? Confidence versus being well prepared. Loved that. Assume acceptance and have lots and lots of conversations. A question that you asked is, what are you doing to refresh? And I think that's a really great question for us to all ask ourselves. What are we doing to refresh? What's our activation process? And Deanna, you would be so proud. I have an activation process. And we've started really following this up weekly with our new VIPs, and letting them know about their little pot of gold. Have they claimed their pot of gold yet? Have they logged into their account? Do they know what's available to them? And we've been having so much success of people going, I want to buy some skincare. I want to know more about the different workshops that you do, just by communicating with them more often than we were before. Your clear system, your process, be passionate, believe, refine. And to summarize and to finish off, something that was really powerful for me was that you said you are responsible for you. You're responsible for your response. You're responsible for your success, for your business, for your relationships, for your finances, for your life. You are responsible. Assert yourself and your dreams. Thanks,
That's right.
There's so much more that I could say. I loved tonight. So thank you again for joining us. And thank you for being the inspiration for this Zoom.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, focus on what you want,
Mm.
not what you don't want, what you want.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Well,
everyone. And we will send the recording as well in the Creating a Bright Future chat. So chat to your upline directors if you would like the recording to pass on to your teams. Have a beautiful night, everyone, and we will see you.
thank you, Adam. Thank you so much.
It's a
Bye, everybody.
pleasure. Mwah. Bye.
Bye.